Hey guys, it's Jamie here and we're back with page 4. I'm going to put that to one side because we will be building on that later. Meanwhile, I'm going to show you some pieces that I've cut in preparation. Aren't they good? Okay, we have two pieces that are, let me get my measurements out so I can tell you, 16 centimeters by 13.5 or 6.25 inches by 5.25 inches, and they have then been scored at 5 centimeters, 13 and 13.5 centimeters, which in inches is 2 inches, 5.25, 5.5. The third card we have is the same size but has been scored straight down the middle. I will bend over those scores so you can see them slightly better. So normally I score this on camera. I just wanted this time to work it out. On your right hand side you have a little gusset or spine. Then on the next one it's the same thing. I haven't folded this one over yet. Have a second one that's got the small spine, and the third one I simply folded in half. Taking the two that are scored the same and facing them the same way, we're going to add glue to this flap here up to that first score line. Then, keeping that fold in place, we're going to lay this one up to that first score line but not going over it, so a small gap. Line up the top and the bottom as much as you can. Check everything will fold over, which it will, and then bone folder it. With the piece that's been folded in half, we're going to glue it into here, and we're only going to seal two sides, so that makes a pocket when you glue it down. I'm going along the edges, and if you don't mind a shallower pocket and you want a bit of extra stability, you can run some glue on the left hand side of the score on the pocket. Place this up to the score, try to line everything up and bring that over. The next part we're doing is we're going to fold this very extreme left hand flap over to make a pocket. This one you can just go down your two sides. That should just fold over nicely because that's all part of the same card, so no lining up to worry about on that side. Let everything dry off for a second. Once that's dry enough, I'll show you what happens. So that folds in there, that folds up there, and that folds over. So that is going to be where you put a closure. I'll probably use magnets. What you're also going to need to do is to measure and cut paper that's going to fit just inside each area, apart from this one, because that will sit on your board. I like to leave a little of the black border, so for example on that front cover you'd be looking at a piece of paper that is just under 3 inches across or 7.5 centimeters, and lengthways you'd be looking at 5.25 inches or 13 centimeters. So around each area that's going to flip out and show, so obviously pockets, you're going to need a piece here and then a piece that goes next to that. Leave a little black border around each, but before you glue them down, if you're using a magnet, you're going to want to put the magnet on. So I will come back after I've cut my pieces, put the magnet on, and then put some pieces on to show you. I wanted to show you a little something I've done before I glue them down. I know that's my back piece, and then as I've cut pieces to the right size for the different areas, I've paper clipped them in so that I know where I'm gluing my pieces. Before I do any gluing, the two that I'm not gluing down are the inside of that fold over and that front cover. That's where we're going to put the magnets. As before, slide them off. Two together, double-sided sticky tape, not on the edge, somewhere in the middle of this lot. We're going to put the magnet, double-sided sticky tape on this magnet, rub it, okay, magnets are now in, and now we can cover that with paper. Before I do any covering, I decided to round that corner and do the same on the paper, and of course the paper that goes on the top will also need to be rounded off. And I am thinking, because I do have different size gaps between paper and black bits, so they're not all matching precisely, that I might actually edge all my papers as well before I put them down, because I think edging disguises a multitude of inaccuracies. That is now ready to go down. The main thing to do is, where there is a score, always be inside of the score so that you don't affect the folding over. And when you're gluing with magnets, try not to put any glue over the actual magnet, and you're good to go for covering all the surfaces. In the end, I decided to cover everything in the coordinating papers, so when you open it up, it now all coordinates. That pulls out that way, and you have lots of pages here, plus some pockets. I am going to leave a lot of this blank so that you can journal on it. The only thing we're going to do is make some tags for the pockets that exist and cover the front. To cover the front, we're going to do a small masterboard. By making a base, is going to be just under 2 inches or just under 5 centimeters by 10 centimeters or 4 inches. We then have something to collage on. I have my glue book. I have a few scraps here, a piece of music. I will be edging all the scraps in the vintage photo. As you can tell, I like torn edges when creating a background of scraps. There is no logical way that I do this. I am simply grabbing bits and pieces of scrap. My background's fully covered. I'll be back. This is the little masterboard background that I've created. I have this figure to place in the middle of it, and then only very, very slightly bigger a black frame, and it is very slight. All of that is going to be glued together. I looked at it, I felt it was missing a little something. I found this 100%, and I'm going to put it on the edge, but I'm not putting everything down at the moment because I intend to sew round this. The tags, we don't want them to stick out too far. You need to be able to get to them, but you still need to be able to close everything. Therefore, allowing for pocket depth, the maximum length is 7 centimeters, and that is 2 3/4 inches. I have a feeling if I halve that, I can glue that together, straighten up the trim on it, and decorate it to make a tag. While we're waiting for our folded scraps to dry, I have this cut from the die cut machine. I'm thinking the best way possibly to put that down would be Mod Podge and allow for the fact that it's going to be shiny. As you can see, I can't glue on anything straight, for I am getting a bit of silicone glue, a bit of this ruffly lace, and that will hopefully start to hide some of the crookedness. And these tags have now been cut and shaped at the top and edged in vintage photo. On one side only, we're going to treat them in a very similar manner to that front cover piece, in that we're going to make mini masterboards or collages with the few pieces to this side, some Mod Podge, ripping and tearing of things. Covering one tag with the Mod Podge, I have a bit of numbers there. We've got some music to add to that. I have a small piece of label to see what flower I have, and a number, and I have another number. And there we have a very quick collage on a small tag. I will continue to do that type of thing on all these other tags. Before I go off to run some stitches around these, which will be messy, I thought I would quickly show you the small tags that have been created for this folio style edition. I'll be back when these are sewn and we'll do the finishing touches. Here we go. I hope you can see the little bit of wiggly stitching that's been done on these. I'm going to see which ones will fit in the pockets. This now needs to be stuck onto here. While that is clipped and drying, we are going to take a look at the baseboard again. I've rounded that piece of scrap paper so I can put it over these and then repunch. These have been repunched. Before we lay anything down, I wanted to just add some extra to the back to give it another level. I have some scraps here. Actually got two pieces there. Might put some of that across here. I've added some more scraps of lace to this, and on our booklet I've also added a bow because I think it will help pick up on the lilac lace there. I'm going to attach it to the back using a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to go slightly higher than those holes, then attach everything to this. To do that, I'm going to do a combination of the Mod Podge and the silicone glue. It's a stronger glue, want that on the edges. And while it dries, get our big clips like that. While holding this together with the clips as that glue dried, I discovered something quite by chance. The magnet works better, and I think it's because of that margin maybe needed to be a bit bigger, if we do it that way. Therefore this bit now has no decoration and you can see that magnet. A few buttons, 3, I always like clusters of 3. Put some fake stitches through them and then just glue them to there. I'm loving this page. I like leaving these threads dangling. I like the lilac, picking up on the lilac there. These are my sort of colours, but I have introduced a bit of colour to it. I love how this opens out and pulls up, and plenty of writing space, but still exciting to open. If you're on YouTube, please do all the YouTube things like subscribe, comment, share. Join the Facebook group if you haven't already. You guys in the Facebook group, I hope you're enjoying the challenge. I'll be back very, very soon with the next tutorial. Bye.